right, it's 3:30 a.m. This is a tuna trip. NorCal tuna, believe it or not. So we're going out pretty far on a salty lady. Start cranking?
Yeah, just crank. Make sure it goes on there smooth.
Yeah, got it. This is Alex and you're watching Catch Happy. Right now I'm on my way back from a guided fishing trip on a boat called Salty Lady. I'm gonna give you some pluses and minuses, and I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about what I've learned, and hopefully that will help you as well if you're planning your own fishing trip, whether you're taking your own boat or you're gonna take a charter. So here are my pluses and minuses. Let's start with the biggest plus. Salty Lady, it was my first trip on this boat, is incredibly comfortable boat. Very nice 56 footer, crewed by a great crew. So Captain Jared, very knowledgeable, very welcoming, and answers a lot of my pesky questions with a smile and a lot of good information. So what's the plan today, Cap?
Well, we're out chasing after some tunas.
Yeah.
We'll try to mix it up a little bit, maybe try for a little albacore, and then hot new fishery in the Northern California waters here, the Bluefin Tuna, the elusive Bluefin Tunas.
Jimmy and Jonathan, the helpers, the deckhand, the mates are exceptional. Same here. They didn't mind being on camera, didn't mind answering my questions. So you timing it, huh?
Yeah.
Minute and a half, okay.
Try and keep them all 20 seconds apart. That way, if we hook one on this one, we know keep dragging it for 20 seconds. That will get the other ones to where the fish are at.
You know, on Sweeney Sports, sporting goods shop in Napa. So it's a new fishery. We're trying to stock the shop, and I asked them a lot of questions, and they were very friendly and absolutely sharing all the information. The minus side of it is I had to wake up at 2:30. The boat ships out at 4 for tuna trips, 4 a.m. because the run is 2.5 hours or so, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. So you are getting on a long boat ride before you go to the fishing grounds. But there's a plus. There's a circumstance here that I'm not really used to. Typically, I come back from a fishing trip of this kind. Last year for salmon, rock fishing, all kinds of stuff. The party boats. You get exhausted. By the end of the trip, you are absolutely exhausted. This particular trip, the boat was so comfortable, and because bluefin tuna trips cost a lot more than, let's say, regular rock fishing trip, there's only 10 people. So it's a smaller number of people, so there's a lot of places to just sit down, relax, and I was almost like laying down, or half laying down, and I caught up on some sleep. Even though I had to wake up at 2:30, I went and caught up on sleep. Well, I slept at least 3 hours overall on the trip, which is kind of phenomenal, because right now I feel absolutely great, and I'm ready to take on Friday night. Come home and be a good dad, and be a good husband, and have a good time, right? So huge plus right there. Which brings me to the next point. If you're looking to book a charter guided trip for bluefin to learn on your own, you have a choice between a few smaller boats, like 6-pack boats, they're called, for up to 6 passengers. They're smaller, 24 foot, something like that, 26. Or you can take a larger boat, like I did, the Salty Lady, and there are a couple more. They're going out for tuna. On one hand, you would think, okay, fishing with that many more people may be more competitive or less fun, because you don't know who you're going to end up with and all that. But the plus here is, and this is somewhat true, not on my trip. We had a great group of people, and again, it's only 10 people. It's not like they're packing 30 people. The advantage here is that you don't get beat up as much. If the seas get rough, those larger vessels like the 56 foot boat I was on, handle them a lot better, and you don't get as sick. Smaller boats like my own and other smaller boats who are going out you're gonna get shaken quite a bit. You're gonna get beat up by the up and down by the swell and the wind and all that stuff. So keep that in mind. If you want to be relatively comfortable, I mean, when I say relatively, you're still 30 miles out, 40 miles out in the open ocean. If you want to be relatively comfortable, consider taking a larger boat. Small, if you want more of a private feel, tighter group of people, you know, maybe you want to choose a smaller boat. But for me, I enjoyed going Salty Lady, and I'm gonna do this again on this boat. That's just my personal feedback. Point number 3, tuna fishing grounds. Mostly we fished around Fairlawns and Cordell Bank area. So that's where the fishing grounds are. And you troll Med Max, you have, you know, specific equipment. We'll talk about that in a minute. But that area is maybe, again, 30 miles out from San Francisco Bay, 25 maybe. So it'll take about 2.5 hours. Let's say launch at Berkeley, something like that. 2.5 hours to get to the fishing grounds, which is not bad. What I found out on a nice day like today, and you'll see in the video, is we had some swell, but it was minimal. On a nice day like this, I am perfectly okay to take my 21 foot North River and fish on my own. So taking a trip like this, a guided trip, gives me the confidence and the knowledge that this fishing is possible on smaller vessels. Plus, I saw some Grady Whites out there. You know, granted they're 24 footed, a little bit larger than my North River, but I feel like on a nice day it'd be totally okay to take my boat, although, you know, it will get a little bit bumpy for sure. So keeping that in mind. Okay, point number 4, equipment. So taking a trip on a charter, a guided trip like this, gives you the inside knowledge. Even though we didn't catch anything, I spent a lot of time talking to the guys about their equipment, and in fact they even let me reel in one of the rods, so I had kind of a feel for what it takes to reel in, you know, 1,000 yards plus of line with a big 9-inch Mad Mac at the end of it. It takes a little bit of doing. It was a good workout. You get to sort of play and test the equipment, talk to the guys about what they prefer before you shell out big bucks. So if you're going to fish for tuna for yourself eventually at some point, and also if you go on charters, you might want to bring your own gear. And there's no better way to learn than to take a trip like this and get real sense. I mean, it'd be nice to get a bite and, you know, battle test the gear, but it is what it is. You still have a very good idea on the whole setup process and all that. So what we're doing, we're trolling Big Macs, like 9-inch Big Macs, which is Nomad lures. Everybody's doing it here for bluefin. And the way it was set up was, the first rod, they timed releasing the troll for like 1 minute and 30 seconds. The second rod, 1 minute and 15 seconds. The third rod is 1 minute and 10 seconds, something like that. And what happened, that's how you stagger them so they don't get all tangled up. So that's a little bit of knowledge that's very helpful. If you don't have a line counter or something like that, which they don't really have those on tuna reels, that's a really kind of simple and easy way to make sure you stagger your lines so you don't get tangled up and lose your fish potentially. Point number 5. Start with a negative first. It's a long trip. Bluefin tuna fishing, you going the heck out there, okay? It's a long trip. The plus side of it, it's not just a trip where you just sit and bump up and down on the swell. The marine life that you get to experience right next to you, and you see the footage, is incredible. Dolphins coming out of the water right next to the boat. You have whales, you have seals, and all kinds of birds diving and doing their thing. It's incredible. It's tranquil. It is kind of transformational in some way. You know, I feel being on the water is in itself a gift, in my opinion. Being on the water of this quality and caliber, right out of San Francisco Bay here in Cordell Banks and Farallon Islands, is a special treat. Overall, I would say the trip was worth it. I had a chance, okay? So if you sit home on the couch and watch YouTube, that's helpful, because that's what I do before the trip. But if you don't take the trip, you don't get first-hand experience. Now, bluefin fishery here in Northern California is very new. I mean, it's been off and on, but the last couple years, it's truly come into its own. And being one of the few anglers that have experienced the fishing for it, maybe not catching, not yet. You got to put in your time. It's like sturgeon fishing. You're not going to catch sturgeon on a first day out. I mean, you might. Very, very rarely I see that. I had to put in almost 6 months of fishing, or 7 months to get my first one. And I think tuna is kind of the same way. Today the whole fleet got skunked. Nobody got anything. Just the bite was off. It is what it is. That's what fishing is all about. But I'm coming back with a smile. And I don't come back with a smile from a lot of trips. This was relaxing, restful, contemplative in some way trip. I got to spend some time in my own head thinking about some things I want to do for work, for whatever, for fishing. I got a lot of advice. I got the confidence. Okay, I think that's an important piece. I got the confidence to go fish on my own, and I also met my new favorite boat, where I'm gonna continue to fish with these guys on Salty Lady. Anyway, that's my verdict. Again, I'm not tired. I'm not exhausted. I have a smile on my face. I learned a lot. I got a video out of this. And hopefully I've imparted some knowledge for you. If you have any questions, put it down in a comment. And look, let's go get a true bluefin on the hook and in the boat next time. Cheers. Catch happy.